The morning sun glinted off the hood of a sleek black Cadillac Escalade parked brazenly across the emergency exit lane, as if the driver owned the asphalt itself. I watched from my garage, jaw clenched, as Sarah Mitchell, the HOA president, stepped out, her heels clicking with authority. She glanced around, daring anyone to challenge her, and declared it was urgent association business. That's when I knew she didn't just bend the rules, she believed she was the law. My townhouse sat at the corner of Pinecrest's Main Street, right beside the only emergency access route, a path ambulances needed clear to save lives. Sarah's stunt wasn't just inconvenient, it was a ticking time bomb. I tried polite words, legal letters, and when those failed, things got creative. Ever faced an HOA tyrant like this? Here's how I fought back and stirred up a storm. I'd called Pinecrest home for 2 years, my modest townhouse nestled where the community's pulse met its lifeline, the emergency exit. My neighbor, Mark Evans, lived next door with his 9-year-old daughter, Emily, who battled a rare heart condition. One episode could turn a sunny afternoon into a race against time. I'll never forget the day, 6 months before Sarah's reign of chaos, when Emily collapsed at a neighborhood picnic. Through my kitchen window, I saw Mark scoop her limp body into his arms, his face a mask of terror. The ambulance roared through that exit in under 5 minutes, paramedics saving her life because seconds weren't wasted. Mark later told me, voice trembling, that a delay could have cost him his daughter. That image of a father's desperation burned into me, fueling my resolve when Sarah decided that same path was her personal parking spot. It started on a crisp September Tuesday. I was tinkering with a client's microwave in my garage when I heard the rumble of Sarah's Escalade. Her license plate, Ruler 1, screamed arrogance. I assumed she'd move after a quick stop, but an hour later, there it was, blocking the yellow-painted zone. Sarah stood nearby, barking into her phone about an HOA crisis, her auburn hair in a severe bun, exuding untouchable confidence. I approached, forcing a smile. Hey, just a heads up, this is an emergency exit. Ambulances need this clear. She smirked, as if I'd insulted her intelligence. I'm Sarah Mitchell, HOA president. I know the rules. This is temporary 30 minutes, tops. I nodded and retreated, but 2 hours later, her car hadn't budged. By evening, her casual strut back to grab something from the console, keys jingling smugly, told me this was no mistake. My security camera caught the real story. At 1:47 a.m., Sarah slunk back, phone flashlight in hand, retrieving forgotten items. She glanced around like a thief, proving she'd planned to leave her car there all along. This wasn't oversight, it was a power play. I fired off a measured email to the HOA board, attaching the footage and noting the blocked exit, hoping transparency would nudge them. Instead, Sarah showed up at my door with 2 board members, clipboards in hand. Mr. Carter, she said, her smile icy, we're inspecting your property for reported violations. Her Escalade still squatted in the exit as she spoke. They nitpicked everything: me fence height, my mailbox color, even my shrub, slapping me with $900 in fines and a 48-hour fixed deadline. The message was clear: question Sarah and pay the price. Meanwhile, Mark confided that Emily's episodes were worsening. One night, he called, voice cracking. She had a scare at 3 a.m. I checked the exit, and Sarah's car was there. If an ambulance had to detour, we'd lose her. His fear was a gut punch. This wasn't about parking Anna Maria, it was about a child's life. Sarah's tyranny rippled through Pinecrest. Neighbors who once chatted freely now scurried past her, heads down. At an HOA meeting, when Mrs. Larson from Unit 10 dared ask about the exit, Sarah shut her down, demanding written submissions. Whispers grew. Don't cross her, she'll ruin you. But I found an ally in Tom Hayes, a soft-spoken board member. He pulled me aside after a meeting, glancing nervously. Sarah's done this before, targeting anyone who challenges her. She's untouchable because no one wants the drama of running against her. The breaking point came when Mark called, frantic. Emily had chest pains tonight. I checked the exit, Sarah's car was there. I had to clear a path with patio chairs, just in case. His voice broke. If she'd collapsed, those minutes could have killed her. Then I spotted Sarah's boldest move, a laminated sign zip-tied to the exit marker, proclaiming, authorized HOA president parking only. She'd fabricated her own rule. Digging through Pinecrest's covenants, I found my weapon, a clause allowing reasonable protective measures on my property easement, as long as they met safety codes. Sarah wanted to play dirty. I'd play smart. As an appliance repairman, I thrived on solving problems, and this called for ingenuity. I envisioned a retractable steel barrier, disguised as a storm drain, that would trap unauthorized vehicles after clear warnings. It had to be legal, safe, and humiliating enough to deter Sarah's games. But doubt crept in. Was I becoming the vigilante I despised? My sister, Rachel, a former cop, called it out. Don't build a revenge trap, Josh. Legal doesn't mean smart. Yet Mark's plea Emily's life kept me going. I secured a drainage permit, claiming I was fixing water pooling, and studied utility maps to avoid disaster. In my garage, I designed pressure-sensitive plates, a hydraulic lift, and a padded steel beam, all camouflaged as infrastructure. A prototype test in my backyard nearly derailed me when Emily tripped over it, grinning. "That's so cool, Mr. Carter." My heart race safety was non-negotiable. By Friday, I began installation, passing it off as drainage work. Sarah noticed immediately, snapping photos from her lawn. Saturday, she marched over with a cease and desist letter, claiming my unapproved project violated covenants. I showed her my permit, but she scoffed, escalating her campaign. She plastered her door with photos of my work, labeling me disruptive resident. Neighbors avoided me. Even kids were pulled away. Trash day felt like a performance, every move scrutinized. I was becoming a pariah. Tom warned me Sunday. Sarah was pushing for a $6,000 fine and my expulsion, calling my project vandalism. That night, Mark overheard her on the phone, labeling me unhinged and a liability. His question haunted me. "Josh, is this safe?" I promised it was, but the pressure was crushing. Monday's HOA meeting was Sarah's stage, but only Mark, Tom, and an empty room showed up. Mark's plea about Emily and Tom's expose of Sarah's abuses deflated her. Undeterred, she filed a city complaint, triggering an inspection. By Tuesday, isolation hit hard. Neighbors crossed streets to avoid me. Mail carriers fled. I sat with cold coffee, the inspector's notice mocking me. Had I gone too far? Wednesday, Mark handed me his old pocket knife, a talisman from Emily's first ER visit. "You're not crazy, Josh. You're saving my kid." His trust reignited me. I compiled evidence, recordings of Sarah's threats, photos of her fake sign, and testimonies of her bullying. Thursday's inspection loomed, and Sarah planned her finale parking in the exit to provoke me. At 9:45 a.m., her Escalade rolled in, parked with theatrical flair. She took a selfie, gloating. At 10 o'clock, my system's voice blared. "Move your vehicle within 5 minutes." Sarah laughed it off, typing furiously. Second warning, third ignored. At 10:10, the ground rumbled. The barrier rose, splitting her Escalade like a broken toy, tires sagging, frame crumpled. Sarah's scream pierced the air, her empire crumbling. Neighbors poured out, phones up, whispering, "He did it." Police arrived, but my documentation permits, warnings, Sarah's defiance shifted the narrative. Her expired insurance and suspended license sealed her fate. Her car was towed in pieces. Sarah sued, claiming I'd destroyed her property, but the community turned. Tom revealed her 3-year terror campaign. Mark's story about Emily swayed hearts. At a packed HOA meeting, residents shared their own Sarah horror stories. Mrs. Larson, fined for her garden, called my barrier justice. By a 46-4 vote, Sarah was ousted, and I was elected president, a role I didn't want but couldn't refuse. Her lawsuit collapsed. The city praised my system as a safety model. Sarah moved away, her house sold quietly. The barrier stays, a silent guardian, activating thrice to teach careless parkers a lesson. Emily thrives, and Pinecrest is a community again, proving that sometimes a clever trap can topple a tyrant. Document everything, know your rights, and when the system fails, don't fear getting creative.